Hi there, this is Linda and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be unboxing the Flutteryby collection from Cocoa Daisy for August 2025 and putting together a project. Let's go ahead and dive right in. Okay, so I have my kits here. I'm going to get them out of the box. And I have my tray set up. I feel like I don't do this in every unboxing video, but I do keep my kits while I'm working with them in one of these plastic trays, which I will link them in the description box below if they're available on Amazon. They usually are, but their price fluctuates a lot. So if you're interested in getting some of these, I highly recommend just watching them and waiting till they're a reasonable price. So the first kit I have is my Classic Cousin sticker kit, and this is a flat sticker kit. It comes with a few sheets of stickers that are great for the Hobonichi cousin, of course. So for August, we have some florals and purples, which you guys know I love purple. There's a few sheets that have these rectangles, which are perfect for the weekly spreads in the side column, but I also like to use them on my dailies, or honestly, I use them in Project Life and everywhere. There's also labels, which are always useful. A tracker sheet. This sticker sheet always has like some icons. This month we have some butterflies and florals, and there's always some word phrase strips, which are my favorite. Days of the weeks and some planner icons. An alpha and a number, some washi strips. And then there's always a washi sheet that has washi strips on it and some additional stickers. Super cute. Okay, here's that marketing card, and there's always just like a fun little sticker. Okay, let's do the stationery kit first. So you can probably tell I already took a little bit of a sneak peek in here. So there's some die cuts. So the die cuts in the stationery kit are vellum, and they are stickers. And you see there's a range of florals and butterflies. This would be super cute in my journal, and I'm sure I will add some of them to some journal spreads this month. Let's see what's in here. I forget. Ooh, some more die cuts. Again, stickers. These ones are like little labels. I'm gonna go ahead and stick those in here with these. These will be great for in Project Life. And the little envelope they came in, although the sticker kind of is tearing it, I feel like it's super cute, so I'm gonna keep that. There's always a notepad in here. I like to use these in my journal and in Project Life. They're nice. They're nice little like journaling spots. This one's just a super cute, simple flower. A pin. See, we've got some larger envelopes. This is a short style field rose. A postcard. This is 4x6, so you can use it in Project Life. A clear sticker sheet. Then let's see, a piece of vellum and a transparency with the florals from the kits. Super gorgeous. And then always 3 sticker sheets. We've got one that has days of the weeks, which are great for planners, journals, and also in Project Life. And then some icons. We got a watercolor butterflies and then some florals. Okay, I'm gonna put this to the side, and I'm going to open the classic, this is the scrapbooking kit with the pocket card add-on, and I'm gonna keep this one on my desk because I'm gonna use this to put together my first project. Okay, so there's always a 3x4 stamp set. This month we've got this large kind of frame and a butterfly. Yeah, I usually get some washi tapes and they were not here because they were delayed. I don't think they'll be delayed for your guys' shipments, but you'll have to check the official Cocoa Daisy account for that. But this one was here, so I'm gonna go ahead and open this. And I'm super excited about this washi. It looks like it's gonna be gorgeous. I'm gonna grab my Hobonichi cousin so I can swatch it. That's super pretty. Love those colors. It's just a cute little rainbow with some text on it. Very cute. Save the cards for last. Okay, let's do the paper. So they've been adding in white cardstock this year, so you have that for some bases. And then there's 2 of each, then they're double-sided. So we've got butterflies, the rainbow on the back, this kind of maroon floral with the labels on the back, this pattern with a green leaf pattern on the back, and then of course we've got the repeats. That one's upside down. Okay, then we have our rub-ons, and I always forget to use those in my project. I'll see if I can fit them in this time. So the chipboard, which chipboard's one of my favorites. I always use the chipboard. And these ones are some super versatile, just kind of like summery themes. Not as much floral as the rest of the kit. So this month we have some dimensional stickers. These look like they are butterflies. Word phrase strips, which are always some of my favorite. An alpha, which is just like a nice neutral. That. And then 2 sets of die cuts. And we've got some florals and some other kind of just like vintage looking designs that fit the kit, plus some sentiments that will work well in Project Life or other scrapbook layouts. This one says smile. And then we have this one here, which are some vellum, it looks like vellum florals. Side note, I hate the packaging for these types of things. It's always so hard for me to get it out, but I always throw it away almost immediately and put everything in a tray without plastic. So much nicer. Okay, let's go through the cards. Okay, that is a look at the kits. Now I'm gonna go ahead and move over to my computer. I will print out some photos and I'll pop back on and put together my spread in my daughter's album. Okay, so if you are new here, what I've been doing with these kits every month is going back and documenting a monthly recap in my daughter's albums. So my daughter is currently 20, but I am still filling in gaps in her high school albums. And I am working through a year at a time. What I decided to do was use the Cocoa Daisy kits this year to help me finish up 2021 in her album. Last year I used the kits to do 2020, so I'm going to keep doing that through to get her entire high school done. And so what I'm doing for this month, so this is August 2021, I'm going to do a recap page, and then I'm also going to do like a smaller 6x8 spread. So I printed a few photos. We had a very busy month. This was the end of summer vacation. She was getting ready to go back to school. There is a back to school card here, but we don't start until September here, but she was just kind of getting ready. And so I do have a lot for that. I didn't have any photos related to that, but she did. We went to the track a few times. I went only one time. I didn't go one of the other times they went. And we went to Lake George, and we did some like kayaking, and we took her friend with us. They did archery, and they also have this photo. So these two are from the same track day, so I might put those together. Okay, so it was hard to narrow down photos, so it's going to be a lot of photos on the spread. And then I printed this one for a separate page, so I'm going to put this together first. I was thinking though of using that card with that, so I'm gonna put that to the side. So I know I always do this where I like push all the cards out of the way and then they're all messed up. So I'm just gonna kind of compile them so I can go through them a little more easily and figure out how I want to document this spread. So I was kind of looking at the cards as I was printing my photos, and I planned this one to go on this right here. So I specifically printed that photo smaller because I had so many photos. And so if you have a lot of photos that you want to include in a pocket page spread, but you don't want it to seem too crowded with photos, printing some smaller that you can place on top of a card is a good way to kind of fit more photos in, because now it looks like there's more like cards breaking up the photos, but I still got a photo in. And I definitely could have printed this photo in a full 3x4, taken up the full pocket, but this way it's just spaced out a little. So I'm just using my corner rounder, and I'm gonna just adhere this one down because I know it's gonna go on this card. There we go. Okay, I'm not sure I love like this, so we'll see. I need a card for journaling, so let me just continue to kind of collect these cards. So I'm going to go through the cards. I want something for some journaling here. These are like the 4x6 ones. I know I'm going to use this as my title card. And then I want something for some journaling, and then probably a filler. I'd like to do usually like one journaling card that's just going to be kind of like a bullet point list of the stories. And then a filler. I really like that card. That one's cute. I think this one will be perfect for my bullet point list. I can definitely come up with things to fill in those spots. And it doesn't have a year on it, so it can be this August. Okay, so I think I like that. What I don't love though is all of these photos. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually crop this one down, which is another way to kind of get more photos without it seeming like too many photos. So I'm just gonna crop this to like a smaller rectangle here. And I'm just cropping off parts of the background. So I'm not really losing anything from the photo. I still have a photo of my daughter and her friends. And then I'm going to back it on this one like that. There, I like that. So that's just gonna kind of break it up a little bit more. Yeah, that looks so much better. Okay, I just need to pull over some washi from my stash to adhere these two together. And that one was just trimmed a little too small, so I'm gonna just trim this so that they line up. There we go. And I'm thinking maybe I wanna add like this on here. There we go. So when I'm doing two 3x4s together like this in a 4x6 pocket, I'm primarily doing it because I want to be able to get two photos onto my spread when I really only have one pocket. But I want to take advantage of the fact that I did that. So putting an embellishment across the two is just a fun way to be able to take advantage of the fact that I am using a 4x6 pocket for two 3x4s rather than two 3x4 pockets. So here I have my filler card lined up with this one. Again, I'm going to just trim this down. There we go. And I'm not sure if I want to put something on here, maybe. Like the August days, but I don't want it to be too repetitive, that one, so I'm going to just leave it for now. And then here I need to put 2021 on here. And what I've been doing this year is using this alpha stamp set from my stash to just add the year onto these title cards. So when you flip through my album, which I will do a flip through at some point when this album is like more complete, at some point the album will be completed and I will do a flip through so you can see kind of like how these all come together. But when you see them all together, pretty much every month I'm using the 4x6 card from the kit that has the name of the month on it. I think maybe one or two I didn't because there was another card that I just loved that I was using instead. But it's pretty uniform and that's gonna kind of, it's cohesive in the album. Okay, so I'm thinking about whether or not I want to leave this one here. I think I do. And then this was, let's see if I have like a, this one would be cute for that, but it's the arrows pointing the wrong way. Maybe here and now. There we go. Okay. I get questions a lot about putting pictures of my ex in here. If you guys are new here, this is my ex. He's actually her stepdad, but he raised her and he's like the only dad she has in the picture. So I do still put him in these projects, even though we have not been together for years, because this is her album and this is for her. So at some point she's going to take these albums and she will want to be able to see him in the album because, well, I'm no longer with him. He's still her dad. So sometimes I shy away from using photos of him just because like I don't really want to, but I try to include them, especially if a photo like this that is like obviously a good photo of the two of them. I want to include it because I do want her to look back on this and know that he was there because he was, and that was part of her story. Okay, so what I did to figure out the stories for the month is I flipped through my Project Life album from 2021 and just made notes in my notebook of stories that involved her from that month. And so I have that off camera and I'm using that to kind of fill in here what stories I want to include. Okay, so I also want to kind of do something on this one. I'm thinking I want to create kind of a layered look. So I'm going to put like this one and this memories chipboard. I just realized though, these both say memories. I don't want that. So I'm going to switch to this August days one. There we go. Okay, that looks good. This does have space for the date. I'm not entirely sure what date we went there. I could probably figure it out. But how am I going to put it on? You know what? I'll put it with the date doesn't matter. What I'm going to do instead is I'm just going to cover that up. I was going to do like one of my Sharpie paint pens, but I'm just going to cover it like that. There we go. So these spreads, I feel like usually come together really quickly because they're always pretty photo heavy. Doing an entire month in one 12 by 12 page is a lot to include. I have found that most months I end up needing an insert or something for some extra stories. What I try to do though is keep the divided page protector, the 12 by 12 divided page protector, to be my overview of the month. And if I'm doing any additional pages, I will have those be specific stories, not additional overview. And that kind of keeps it manageable. So if this is something you're thinking of doing to like go back and fill in your older stories, I highly recommend picking a subscription kit and using that month to document a month in an older year. It's super manageable. This doesn't take long at all. And now I'm gonna have August fully documented. So the next page I'm gonna do is, I'm just gonna document this photo quickly, and I just wanted to kind of make it a little bit bigger. I'm gonna make a 6 by 8 page, and I think I'm gonna use this one as a background. Ooh, I do also really like the rainbow. I think I might do the rainbow one, but I need to trim this down because these are not 6 by 8, they're 6 by 8.5. There we go. Okay, so I think my plan is to put this, and then I'm gonna cut these out and put a title on here and add just a little bit of the story. So what I think I'm gonna do is put you guys on voiceover for this one so that I can focus on figuring out my design. Okay, so this one comes together super quickly. The jumping off point for this spread was this summer card. So if you don't know, my daughter's name is Summer. So I like to use any products that have the word summer on them in her album, because for example here, it represents both the season and her. So I wanted to cut out these letters and use them as a title across this photo. So that's what I'm doing. I'm not cutting them super close. I could cut them out more closely to the letters, but I kind of like having a little bit of the white still there from the card. I could have even considered leaving them all in rectangular shapes now that I'm looking at it while I'm watching this back to do the voiceover, I think that would have looked pretty cool if they were all rectangular shapes, and that would have been an easier fussy cutting kind of job. So my plan is to just adhere them on there and stitch them down. First, I need to adhere the photo onto the background. I like this ombre-ish type of background here with the photo on the top because you don't really see the entire ombre effect. Instead, you see the pink and purples at the bottom and the yellows and greens at the top. Because the word is also yellow, I decided to put it across the bottom on the pink and purple side. I could have also flipped the paper over and had the pink and purple at the top if I wanted to put the title at the top, but I want the contrast between the yellow letters and the pink background. I added a bit of washi just to kind of ground this on here. It's not necessary because you do have the edge of the photo, which would act as a visual line to kind of hold the letters in place. And I am going to stitch them down, which is also going to create that visual line, but it does still just add a little bit of something to the design. I took this over to my sewing machine and I stitched it down. I currently have black thread in my sewing machine, which works really well for this kit. It goes really well with the colors. I feel like they did this in last year's Cocoa Daisy kit for August as well, where it's got these like bold, bright colors and black. And I really love the combination. It's something I feel like you don't see that much from other manufacturers, or at least ones that I work with. So it's kind of fun to have the pops of black once in a while. I considered bringing something over from one of the other kits, but I decided to stick with just the scrapbook kit for this project, partially because I just wanted to keep it simple, but I also just want to give you guys an example of what you could do with just the scrapbook kit. So what I did in my first spread was also just the scrapbooking kit and the pocket card add-on, and that's the same for this one as well. I decided to just layer some of these word phrase strips and chipboard pieces to create kind of like a vertical line across the page from the top to the bottom and just add a little bit of extra decor. I decided not to add any journaling or writing on here just because it's in context with the spread next to it. Here's a look at how both these spreads came together. Thank you guys so much for being here. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. And as always, I hope to see you guys all in the next one. Bye.